to help you to stay connected to your breath. So counting 1 for each in and out breath. In, out. 1, in, out. 2, in, out. 3. And if your mind wanders, bringing the count back to 1 as you bring your attention back to the breath. Remembering that the aim isn't necessarily to get up to 10. We're just using the count as a little guide to keep us focused on the breath. So we're just going to begin to expand our awareness to the rest of the body now. And just begin to move a little bit in your seat. Maybe have a little stretch, wiggle your fingers and toes just to reconnect with the rest of the body. And then just notice the sounds you can hear around you, in the room, in the building, outside. And when you're ready, just slowly open your eyes, have a little look around the room, refamiliarize yourself with where you are. And when you're ready, just bring your attention back to the screen. So how was that for everybody? Any comments or questions, that practice?
I haven't done it in a while, Caroline, so it just felt really good to just notice the breath again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks, Shannon. So as we said before, this is a great practice to do because we take our breath with us everywhere. So no matter where we are, we can always do this practice. And the breath's a really good anchor, bringing us back into the present. So if there's no more questions or comments, we'll move on. So we're just going to talk a little bit about mindfulness of the senses. So you've been using your senses already in all of the different mindfulness practices that we've done. But the more we connect with our senses, the more that helps us to be more mindful, either in our mindful meditation practices or just in every day. So we can practice bringing awareness to each of the senses in turn. And one of the reasons we close our eyes when we do mindfulness is it just helps us to focus a little bit more on the other senses rather than getting distracted by what we see. We're very visual creatures, and so often we get very focused on what we can see. So there's a list of all the different senses there and some little tips about how you can use these in a mindful way. So just beginning to notice all the sounds around you. Try not to judge sounds. So again, remembering that mindfulness is a non-judgmental practice. So just listening, noticing subtle sounds that you didn't notice before. So things like birds singing, traffic, music, the sound of your own breathing. And remembering that you might notice some sounds that you find unpleasant, but that's okay. It's about learning to sit with these and not make judgments over them. Again, with smell, can you begin to notice scents and smells around you? So smells of food, perfume, aftershave, smells of fabric or furniture, of other people, of pets. You may become more aware of natural smells or more chemical smells. And what you might notice when we pay more attention to our sense of smell is that it might bring up memories for you. So smell is a really evocative sense for bringing up memories. We often all remember the smell of lavender that might remind us of a grandmother, or a perfume or an aftershave of an ex or something like that. So just be aware that some memories might come up, particularly when we're dealing with smell. So with our vision, with our sight, really begin to look around you and observe. So actively notice colours and shapes and textures of various objects. You might notice things that you've not noticed before, and Remember, when we're doing mindfulness, we're fostering that kind of novel sense of looking at something with new eyes, that we're doing something as if we've never done this before. So taste, we had a go in I think our first session, we did the raisin exercise. Well, we didn't eat raisins, but that's often what it's called. I think we ate chocolate and fruit. Um, so really focusing on what you can taste, slowing down that process of eating so you can really taste the food. And you can do this every time you eat or drink something, just noticing those subtle tastes. Um, and maybe notice whether things taste differently if you've eaten or drunk something before, or if you've just cleaned your teeth, for example. And then touch, so notice what you can feel around you. So bringing your attention to the sensations of skin contact, to what you're sitting on or what you're wearing. Can you notice the feel of your clothes against your skin, your feet on the floor, or any jewelry or any glasses, things like that. Notice things like temperature, pressure, and texture. Or you can specifically take an object in your hands, and this is a really good mindfulness practice, to take an everyday object and just explore it with your hands, so with your eyes closed, as if you've never felt it before. So those are all different ways of using mindfulness in the senses, and we're going to have a go now. We're just going to do a mindfulness of sound exercise. So the handouts for these exercises, the scripts for these exercises, I'll send to Shannon, who'll send them on to you after the session. But if you just want to close your eyes again, get yourselves in that comfortable position. And again, just let your body relax into the chair. Just give your body an invitation to let go of any tension that you're holding right now. We're not trying to force the body to let go. If some tension wants to stay, that's not a problem. But just giving the body an invitation to relax if it wants to. And either close your eyes or lower them to the floor or fix them to a point on the wall. And if you need to make any adjustments to be a little bit more comfortable, just do that now. And then bring into your awareness the sounds that you can hear around you right now. So the sound of my voice might be a hum of a computer, might be the sound of your own breathing. There might be an absence of sound, a silence, a ringing in your ears. So noticing the sounds in the room with you right now. And then expanding your awareness to notice any sounds you can hear outside the room. So just noticing any sounds that are nearby, any sounds that are far away. And the difference in those sounds. So simply allow the sounds to come to you. This is pure hearing. You don't need to make an effort. Just allowing sounds to come in and out of your awareness. Can you notice the quality of the sound, the pitch, the volume, the tone of the sound? Can you listen to the sound without trying to name what it is? And just notice if your mind gets distracted with thoughts or sensations, with emotions, then just bring the mind back to its job of listening, hearing. And again, if there are no obvious sounds, just listen to the silence. Noticing if your mind is beginning to make judgments. You don't like this sound. Oh, I like that sound. I want to hear more of that. And just see if you can allow yourself to continue hearing, but suspend those judgments. Now just bringing your awareness to your body. So continue listening, continue hearing, but just begin to move your body a little bit. Have a little stretch, wiggle your fingers and toes, reconnect with your body. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes, have a look around the room, reconnect again with the room that you're in, and when you're ready, just bring your attention back to the screen. Is everybody back? So how did you get on with that? It's quite unusual to just sit and listen. Any comments or questions?
I found that quite difficult because it's really, really quiet where I am.
Yeah.
So focusing on silence is, I think, maybe more difficult than sounds because there's a school right by me and they kind of let the kids out about halfway through, and that I found it much easier to start focusing once there was some sound.
Yeah, that's really well noticed, Hannah, that we really struggle to sit with silence. It's much easier because we're hardwired to attend to sounds rather than silence. So good practice is to practice with some silence, but maybe if you're doing that particular meditation, it's a very quiet place, put some music on and just really listen to the music. Any other comments?
Dog was helpfully snoring on the sofa.
Oh wow. And did you find Catherine, was there any judgment about that sound?
No, she does it all the time. It's just kind of, but at least it gave me something that was that or my laptop whirring, and that was the two things I could hear.
Fantastic. So I had yesterday I was out in my garden and there's a man just over the hill from me who's drilling into some rock. So I had a pile driver all day yesterday. And in the end, it became quite pleasant. But I had to really practice my non-judgmental mindfulness of sound yesterday. Any other comments before we move on? Okay, so that is a really good one to practice that difference between listening to nothing and then actively listening to something else. And again, with these things, if we practice them more often, we practice a little bit just tuning into our senses, the more mindful we become in everyday life. So right, so we're going to talk a little bit about mindfulness, compassion, and connection. So as we've talked about, mindfulness practice involves a kind and open and curious attitude. So when we approach the world with this attitude, it helps us to develop compassion and connection. So when we talk about compassion, what we mean by compassion is our response to suffering. So when we notice ourselves or somebody else suffering, we want to do something about it. We offer compassion. So when we feel that. So we can only notice the suffering if we're mindful of what's happening within us and what's around us. So if we're not mindful, we don't notice this. So research has shown that regular mindfulness practice increases empathy and also increases the compassion that we have for both other people and for ourselves. Now, self-compassion doesn't mean we're always filled with happiness and joy. It doesn't mean that we kind of let ourselves off the hook. It's about bringing that kindness and compassionate attitude to our awareness. So sometimes it's about setting boundaries with ourselves or with other people. And also it's about tolerating uncomfortable emotions. So even if I feel frustrated, and I did yesterday with a pile driver going on all day, I still respond to this with compassionate acceptance. So I develop self-compassion for the emotions that I feel, even if they're difficult emotions. Now, when we increase self-compassion, this is associated with lower stress levels. Oops, that's not what I meant to do there. So this is associated with lower stress levels and reduced amounts of low mood and anxiety, and it also helps us to cope better with difficult situations. So mindfulness helps us also to see our interconnectedness, so to each other and to the world that we live in, which also leads to greater compassion for others and the planet. So this interconnectedness, the more we feel interconnected, it helps us to reduce our feelings of stress and also that busyness, which often gets in the way of compassion and connection. So the more mindful we are, the less we get kind of pulled into that busyness, where we're just running around like headless chickens. So I've just lost you all. I'm just trying to find you all again. So I can see you again. That's better. Right, I'll just share my screen again for you. Oh, I've still lost you. Where have you all gone? Right, so we're going to move on to our next meditation then. I'm just going to try and... Sorry, guys. I just want to be able to see you all as we're doing this meditation. I'm just going to stop sharing again and see if I can. Right, so you're all there. So I'm just going to keep you without the screen share for the next meditation so I can see you. So we're just going to do another meditation now, which is really about connecting to each other, connecting to that sense of self-compassion. So this is called the Web of Life mindfulness meditation, and I will send you a copy of this in email as well. And I don't know whether anyone was aware, but yesterday was Earth Day. So it's a really nice meditation to kind of use at this time when we're kind of connecting to the earth. So if you just want to get yourselves comfortable again, and just close your eyes. And just invite your bodies to settle. Just give your body that invitation again to let go of any tension that's not needed right now. And as you settle into the chair, just notice the feeling of your body on the chair, the feeling of your feet on the ground. And just bring your awareness into your mind and your body right now in this moment. And just acknowledge how you're feeling right now. So noticing any emotions that are coming up for you right now. Notice how you're feeling physically, whether there's any pain or discomfort, or whether you feel relaxed, warm. Just acknowledge how you're feeling and just let it be. You don't need to change anything. And now just use your skills to focus on your breathing. So just becoming aware of breathing in and out. So again, there's no need to change the way that you're breathing. Your body knows exactly how to breathe right now. Just allowing your body to breathe however it wants. Just breathing in and out. And bringing your attention again to where you're sitting. So feeling the connection of your body on the chair or cushion. And just feel its connection to the floor. And just reflect on the connection of the floor to the building that you're in. And the connection of the building to the earth further below you. And just let your awareness expand to include the earth below you right now. So just feel a sense of being held by the earth. Just allowing yourself to be held by the earth that we walk on every day. And just allowing yourself to breathe in and out as you notice this connection to the earth. And just notice how the earth rises up to hold you, to support you. And there's nothing right now that you need to do. There's nowhere you need to go. There's nothing you need to be. You can just let go and just let the earth hold you. And right now, just bring to mind someone that you would hold this way. A loved one, maybe a friend or a family member or a pet, an animal. And reflect on how your loved ones are being held in the same way. with safety and ease by the earth. And just reflect on how the earth holds all beings, whether they're acquaintances or strangers, or difficult beings that we have difficult relationships with, but the earth holds them with no bias, no discrimination, no separation. And just reflect on how the earth holds all beings, whether they be small or large, all different creatures. Holds plants. And that this doesn't exist in a vacuum, that the earth's connected to the solar system and the vast universe. And just notice that sense of interconnection, that our bodies are connected to the earth, to the stars, to the sun. And just notice where you feel this in your body, this sense of connection. And if you notice any difficult emotions or thoughts arising, that's absolutely fine. Just focus on your breath and keep breathing into what you're experiencing right now. So our bodies, the earth, the sun, the stars are all connected. We're all composed of the same material. The same basic particles joined in different ways. So just feeling into that sense of interconnectedness. We're all made of stardust. And feeling that sense of being at home within your body. Just bringing your attention back to the breath now. And with each in and out breath, just noticing that sense of connection. There's nothing more you need to do, nothing you need to get or push away. Just noticing how you are in this moment. Just resting in the heart of the universe. And if you want to, just sending out some love and connection to the whole of that universe. Well wishes. So just noticing your body right now. Again, noticing that connection to the earth, to the floor, to the chair. And you might just want to begin to move around a little bit. Just have a stretch as you prepare to return from this meditation. Just noticing the sounds that you can hear around you. And when you're ready, just open your eyes, have a look around the room, and just bring yourself back to the group, back to the screen. So that's quite a different meditation to some of the ones we've done before. How did you get on with that one?
It was a good one for noticing how actually small we are, if that makes sense.
I
Yeah.
gave myself vertigo.
Oh dear.
I don't
So
like heights. So when I started to, I'm on the second floor. And once I started to imagine going down, I literally felt like I was falling. Yeah, I went a
So
bit
how
dizzy.
did you cope with that, Julia? Because you managed to sit with that. Okay, so what did you do to cope with that?
And I felt a bit dizzy. I just brought it back to the room I was in.
Brilliant.
And then I just thought about the earth outside as opposed to underneath me.
Brilliant. Well done.
So I was like, whew.
Well noticed, and really good for sitting with that as well. Well done. Yeah. And I think with that particular meditation, we often find these kind of changes in perception, like you said, Julia, that sense of, you know, distance we are from the earth, where we are in position at the moment, and also, Shannon, what you said about that idea that we suddenly become smaller as we expand our awareness to include the entire universe, the planet and the entire universe. It kind of can make us feel quite small.
In a way, it kind of reduced my worries because you do feel so small. They're not that big, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of puts things in perspective, doesn't it? Yeah. Any other comments, any other experiences anyone wants to share, or any questions about that particular one? No, okay. So that's one of my personal favorites. I really like that one. And I think with that, it's really noticing as you begin to connect, kind of what's going on for you as you connect with the earth, as you connect with other beings. Right, so I'm going to hopefully share my screen and keep you with me. Let's have a look. Oh, you've disappeared again, but I'll find you again at our next meditation. That's okay. So just to talk a little bit about mindfulness in nature. So people often do their mindfulness practice in nature. And what we know about lots of research is now showing us that spending time in nature is very good for our health and well-being. So when we feel more connected to nature, these health benefits are enhanced even more. So there's a concept called nature connectedness, which is our realization of our shared place within nature. And this influences our beliefs, behaviors, and emotional response towards nature. And the more nature connectedness we have, the more benefits for health and well-being our time spent with nature is. So connection with nature is also associated with greater life satisfaction, low anxiety, happiness, creativity, improved sense of vitality, greater sense of meaning, and it's also linked to an increase in pro-social and pro-nature behaviours. So basically we're nicer to other people and we're nicer to nature. So mindfulness is a really good way of increasing this nature connectedness. And when we're mindful in nature, it enhances these restorative qualities of nature. And it's just this lovely loop that the more time we spend in nature, that actually often increases our mindfulness. So we tend to notice things a little bit more when we're in a more natural environment. So it's a really good way of developing your mindfulness practice. So there's some tips there of practicing mindfulness with nature. I'm not going to read them all out because I'm just conscious of time, and we've got another mindfulness practice that I want to do with you. But these slides are available afterwards, so you can have a look at that later in your own time. But essentially just getting out there and exploring nature with your senses in that mindful way. And there's also a 10-minute daily practice there, where you can find space in nature where you feel safe and comfortable, and then just focusing on different senses to allow you to develop that mindfulness in nature practice. So again, you can read through that at your leisure afterwards. So we're going to do another meditation now. So this is the Treasure of Pleasure meditation. So this is helping us to notice what's pleasant and pleasurable and beautiful in our lives. So we've done some meditation practices with mindfulness where we've maybe sat with some discomfort, some physical discomfort, or we've maybe sat with uncomfortable emotions. But this one's about specifically focusing on the kind of nice things we notice at the moment. So if you get yourselves comfortable again, back in that meditation position, and just close your eyes if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, or just drop them to the floor if you prefer. So just allow your body to settle again. If you need to move to be a little bit more comfortable, just make those adjustments as you settle into your body. And just again, allowing yourself to feel completely supported by the chair, by the floor, by the earth beneath you. So sometimes we block our experiences, we block our emotional experiences or our physical experiences because we're worried about feeling unpleasant things. But when we do this, we can also numb ourselves to experiencing pleasurable feelings. And sometimes we do this because we're worried that the pleasurable feeling won't last. And as we know about mindfulness, that these things come and go, and mindfulness is about experiencing unpleasant things and not being afraid that they're going to continue forever. And it's also experience about pleasant things, but knowing that they won't last forever either. So that we're not trying to cling on to them, but we can still experience them and enjoy them in the moment. So in this practice, just making sure that you're open to all your experience. The thoughts that come in, the emotions that come in, any physical sensations that come in, just checking in on any resistance you may have. Just noticing whether there's any aspects of your experience that you're hardening up against, that you're pushing away. Are you attempting to block out pain or anxious thoughts? And if you are, just with acceptance and kindness, just allow these in. Just allow these thoughts and feelings to be there. So not trying to control your mind or body in any way, just breathing with it and allowing what's there to be there. So just paying attention to your body, your senses right now, all of the 5 senses. Paying attention to thoughts that might be coming through your head or images. And just begin to notice in particular anything pleasant or enjoyable that you're experiencing right now. So what do you discover? Maybe you notice the way that the chair is really supporting your body, allowing you to relax into it, and that's pleasant. Or maybe you're noticing that your belly feels round and soft, and that feels nice. Or maybe you notice that your hands are resting on something that feels nice. If you're finding it difficult to find anything pleasant in the moment, don't worry, just try not to judge yourself. And just see if you can develop that kind and accepting awareness to whatever it is that you are experiencing right now. So remember, we're looking for really subtle experiences. We're practicing noticing the little things. They might not be so obvious straight away. So the pleasant experiences that you notice might seem very ordinary. Might just be a lack of hunger, or not feeling tired and drained, feeling like you have some energy, or one part of your body feeling relaxed and warm and comfortable. Or maybe simply the noticing that you're alive feels good right now. And now expanding your awareness outside your body to where you are, noticing any sounds around you that might be pleasant. Or in absence of sound, a silence that may be pleasant for you. Or maybe in the room or in the building is somebody or something that you love, and it feels pleasant to know that they're there. Or maybe you're aware of the sun shining into the room even with your eyes closed, and that feels pleasant. Or that you might notice a pleasant smell as you breathe in. Just spending some time now noticing these pleasant things as they arise. And then letting them go as that moment passes. Without trying to hold on to the pleasant sensation. Noticing how things change moment to moment. And if your mind's wandered off, just gently guide it back. And maybe seeing if that's pleasant, noticing that you've noticed that your mind's wandered and you can guide it back. So just bringing your awareness back to the sense of your body as a whole. Just begin to move a little bit in your seat. And as you move, just notice any movements that feel pleasant to you. So is swaying pleasant, or stretching your fingers, stretching your legs? What does that feel like? Wiggling your fingers and toes. And then open your eyes and have a little look around the room. And again, as you open your eyes, just notice if you see anything that gives you pleasure in any way as you look around the room. So maybe a favourite picture or photograph, or the particular way that the light's shining on something, a favourite piece of fabric, whatever it is, favourite object. And then just bring your attention back to the screen and just have a little look at each other. And see if you notice anything pleasant as you look at each other. And I can see some smiley faces, and that's bringing me great pleasure. I'm also really curious about everybody's houses, and that's bringing me great pleasure. I like to see where everybody lives or is working. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. How did you find that one?
One of my cats came in, curled up on my feet and started purring like a tractor.
Lovely.
So I've now got nice warm feet.
Fantastic. And a little massage from the purring as well. Great.
So, yeah, so,
That's great timing.
yeah, she's on my feet now.
Anybody else managed to notice anything nice? Nothing?
I really enjoyed that one. I've got a blanket on, just noticing how soft the blanket is.
Yeah, lovely.
I've got
And
a seat I can sort of like bounce back and forward on. So at the end, I was with my eyes closed. It felt like I was on a swing at a park as a child. It's quite nice.
Oh, love it. Oh, I'm very jealous of that seat, Ewan. And Hannah, I'm a big fan of blankets. I have many blankets. Yeah. So that's a really nice meditation to do, because sometimes it is difficult to sit with the unpleasant things. We need to do it and it's helpful, but it's a really nice meditation to do if you've had a bit of a long day at work or you're a bit stressed about something, because we kind of were hardwired to notice threat and difficult situations. So our brain does go there, but this is just helping our brain to kind of just notice the little things. It's like a kind of mindfulness gratitude practice, that actually we're just tapping into those lovely things around us that often we don't even notice, because we're too busy rushing about. And these are the things that really help to support us in everyday life. So I noticed that we're coming up to time. So we were going to do another mindfulness practice to finish off, but we're not going to have time to do that. But that was the 3-minute breathing space. So I think all of you have done that before anyway, so you can go and practice that a bit later today by yourself. I'm just going to finish off, just share my screen again. Right, so there's some everyday mindfulness tips on there. Again, I'm not going to read out all of this because you've got the slides afterwards. But again, it's this idea of mindfulness on the go. So there's a whole list of things that you can do throughout your day just to bring mindful awareness to your everyday activities. So there's 2 pages of that. So just to have a little bit of a reflection before we end then. So what are you going to take away from Mindful March? And a bit of Mindful April we've gone into. Is there anything that you've noticed since starting practicing mindfulness meditation? How are you going to keep your meditation practice going? And are there any other ways that you're going to bring mindfulness into your life? So does anyone want to share how this has maybe changed things for them, or how they're going to keep the meditation practice going?
When I go out for a walk, I try just to look at what's around me and listen to what's around me, and just not, because before I go out for a walk and come back and think, oh, where have I been? And I was just going for a walk for the exercise and not really, I could have been anywhere basically.
Yeah,
So
brilliant.
now I've actually realized a very, very weird house numbering system we have around this way. And other things like that, which I've never noticed before.
Yeah.
So
That's brilliant, Julia. And I think that that's such a good way to practice mindfulness, to be out on a walk. You can look at things, you can check out weird house numbering systems. I'm really intrigued about that now. You can hear, you can use all of your senses when you're out for a walk. You can notice, you can walk mindfully. So yeah, brilliant, fantastic. And it doesn't have to be a separate exercise to what you're normally doing. You can put this into your everyday activities. Fantastic. Any other examples?
I love going out on walks. I love this time of year, just seeing the plants change and the flowers come out, but being really observant of how things are changing. Just because I do similar walk regularly with the dogs, it's just how does it change?
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that idea, Catherine, of, day to day, what's different on my walk. So as plants are growing, what's growing that's different. Also, if the weather's different, even if I'm doing the same walk, what does it look like? What does it feel like? And then if you're doing the same walk over a longer period of time, what's it like in different seasons? It's lovely, fantastic. Good noticing. Anyone else want to share what they're doing or how they're going to keep it going?
I love the mindful eating. I think it's brilliant. Like I used to just rush my food, and now I definitely do be a lot more mindful.
Yeah.
Taste and texture.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? And I find I get a lot more enjoyment out of my food when I eat more mindfully, and I don't overeat as well when I do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of notice that, when you're hungry, not just when you're
Yeah.
mindfulness eating. Yeah.
Any other ways that people are practicing mindfulness?
I actually find that when I have a negative thought or a negative association with something, I'm not denying it anymore. I'm not trying to escape from it or move on from it as quickly as possible. I'm actually just sort of accepting it for what it is.
Oh,
And
wow.
it doesn't bother me for as long as the feeling just gets shorter and shorter.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's so fantastic, because that's like, I call that like hardcore mindfulness. It's really easy for us to be mindful, when things are nice, but when we come into contact with things that are more difficult, to actually sit with it, that's really hardcore. But it's fantastic, and exactly what you said, Todd, the more we accept these things, the paradox is often they don't bother us for as long, because that moment just passes, that thought passes, that emotion passes. Whereas when we're trying to push it away or challenge it, sometimes we get into this battle with it and it actually gets worse. Brilliant. Well done. Any other ways that people are practicing?
I've just put a reminder into my diary. So for 5 minutes every Tuesday morning, because that tends to be the day when I never ever have anything that recurs on there. I've just got a little reminder in there every week. So I'll see if I actually do it or not.
Well, there's an intention there, isn't there, Ewan? And that's the start. And I think, we do get really busy, don't we? And life kind of overtakes us. And that's a really good way of making sure that you put some mindfulness practice in, is set an alarm on your phone, put a note in your diary, make a little appointment with yourself to do this. Because it's so worthwhile, it really help us to cope with everything that life throws at us. So yeah, brilliant. Good to hear that, Ewan. Okay, so I noticed the time and we need to be finishing off there. I'm just going to pop up a couple of things on the screen. So there's some resources there, and also some websites and apps. They're on each of the slideshows that you're going to be sent. So you'll get, there's the recording of this that you can go back to, and you can also have copies of the slides, and I'll send you the handouts of the meditations that we've done today. So before we end, is there any final comments or questions that anyone wants to ask? Okay, well, thank you all for participating. You've been a great group, and I'll be wondering how you're all getting on with your mindfulness, and I'll miss our little Friday mindfulness sessions. So good luck with it all, and take care of yourselves.
Thank you so much. You've been
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Caroline. Bye.
Bye. And bye to all the pets too.